Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here with Deputy City Manager Kip Harkness, who is heading up our Emergency Operations Center. I believe many of you may be here in response to a notification we gave this morning about something I just filed with our city clerk, encouraging this council to issue a moratorium on evictions for non-payment of rent for those breadwinners who are going to be impacted by the many shutdowns and cancellations that will result with the spread of the coronavirus in our community. We know there are going to be considerable economic impacts. We know that one school has already shut down. We expect there may be others in the days ahead, and there are going to be a lot of parents that are going to need to stay home with their kids, and they will not all be earning paychecks while they're home. We know that there's going to be a real struggle for a lot of families. And so this is an effort to work collaboratively with our landlords to ensure that no one is pushed out the door while they're having to either go without income, perhaps in some cases job loss, in some case loss of hours worked, and in many cases there'll be no income at all. And we just need to do everything we can to keep everybody afloat during this tough time. We have been in communication with the local apartment association here in Santa Clara County. I want to thank Anil Babar for his collaboration around several of these issues, and particularly for their commitment now to step up to offer financial assistance to tenants through the Housing Industry Foundation, or HIF. And they'll be probably making a separate announcement about that, but we appreciate their willingness to step up. This item will go to the council on Tuesday, and then we'll consider any modifications of the policy, but the thrust is fairly straightforward. That is, any worker who has lost income as a result of the coronavirus epidemic or the emergency announcement from the county, and any of the consequences from that. Anyone who has lost income and is no longer able to pay rent, we want to do everything we can to keep them housed. Certainly that is of great interest to them, but to our entire community. We know it's a public health and public safety issue if thousands of families are being pushed out on the street. These are tough times we know that we're going to have to endure in the weeks ahead, and we're going to get through this, but we're going to get through it together. And the way we'll do it is by pulling together. And I'm confident we have shown time and time again as a community that we can thrive through adversity, and we will survive and thrive at this time as well. With nothing further on that announcement, I'm happy to take any questions. And on other issues relating to the EOC and how we're responding as a city, I know Kip may be able to respond better than me, so we'll tag team on this one. I'm not aware that any city has done this before. The city of San Jose had proposed doing something like this. Some of you may recall at the time that the federal government was threatening to shut down about a year and a half ago, and we were concerned about keeping workers operating at the airport, and we didn't want to have to shut down our airport, so we announced that we would essentially create a moratorium on evictions for those workers. Obviously, this is a much larger scale because we know the impacts will be much greater.
Mayor, how do you determine who's not paying because of the coronavirus and who's just not paying for other reasons?
Right, so there's obviously going to need to be objective criteria and documentation. For those who are no longer working, obviously pay stubs. We'll need, in some cases, statements from employers. We need objective indicia so that people can clearly show that they're not able to earn income.
Will there be like penalties?
Hang on, we'll just hold on a second.
Will there be penalties for landlords if they don't comply, and then will payback of missed rent be required?
Yeah, what the memo calls for is that there be a reasonable period of time for landlords and tenants after the conclusion of this emergency for them to negotiate a payment of rent over a period of time of, say, 4 months, something that gives tenants a reasonable amount of time to be able to catch up. We know there's no perfect formulation here. We're just trying to do the best we can to enable tenants to be able to hang on. And obviously, we know some landlords are also, we have a lot of small mom and pop landlords that are hanging on, depending on this revenue, to be able to help them pay their mortgage or to get through the month as well. So we want to do everything we can to help them. And so we're going to learn as we go here. As you probably saw, the moratorium is very brief. It's about 30 days. And then we'll come back to the council, and we may need to tweak as we learn more.
Sam,
Yes.
what about some of the businesses that aren't being frequented anymore because people are afraid that they're run by Chinese residents or something? There's like a lot of that xenophobia happening. Where like, oh,
Yeah.
maybe I won't go there because.
Well, we want to be yeah, good question. I can't be emphatic enough about the fact that this is not a virus that has any particular ethnic origin. This is a virus that is global, and there is no reason why anyone should hesitate to go any particular business or to any particular home just because of their fear of this virus. We really need to separate what is reasonable vigilance based on the science and the data from unwarranted fear. And we will do all we can to continue to communicate to people that we need to be responsive to the best information we have from our health experts at the county and throughout the country, and not react to the rumors that people may see on social media.
Have you seen an impact already, Mayor? Flights, hotels, conventions?
Yes, we've seen several major conventions canceled. Hainan Airlines, of course, which serves China from San Jose, has canceled its flights. We expect there will be other cancellations of major events. We are certainly in constant communication with many of those event producers and promoters, and we're trying to find ways to enable them to do what's safe for the community and still be able to survive.
Kip, the center is opened virtually. Can you explain how that works in the...
Yeah, we've opened our Emergency Operations Center. We're staffing a lot of it virtually, both to allow people to be more flexible in how they respond and also to practice the social distancing that we've all told that we're going to be practicing. And so that allows us to have a broader capability. We did proclaim a local emergency at noon today, and so we have the full powers that we need to execute our response in support of county public health and make sure that all city services are continuing to operate, and especially those essential city services will continue to operate no matter what happens with this public health emergency.
And by virtually, you mean what?
By virtual, we mean we're using Zoom as our primary means of conferencing. We're allowing people to call in. We're having smaller numbers of people in the main area so that we can social distance, and having teams meet in other places or call in on Zoom and use Slack as our main channel of communication. So we're taking advantage of some of the great companies in this valley to use modern ways of working that also allow us not to be in close proximity.
I should note both Zoom and Cisco provide this great service here in the city of San Jose.
So in stage 4 of the ops,
Yeah.
what does that mean exactly? How does that compare to stages 1 through 3?
Yeah, since we just created these stages, maybe Kip can describe in greater detail.
Yeah. So essentially, we've created a 5-stage model, and we are now just moving into stage 4. And that's really the shift from the planning, the preparation work, into the actual implementation. And so the first thing we're doing in stage 4 is we're taking the county's guidance around mass gatherings and social distancing, and we're putting that into operation in our 7,000-person organization. We're looking at the events that we need to cancel, the classes that we need to modify, and how, when everybody comes back to work on Monday, things will be different in terms of telecommuting, in terms of social distance, in terms of space. So that's the shift to 4. We are also looking at 4 not just as a kind of light switch that you turn on, but a series of graduated steps that you might take. And that over time we might modify how we deliver services to make sure that both our employees and the public are safe in accessing all of those services. Stage 5 is when and if we have to make the switch to performing only essential services: police, fire, garbage, water, all of those things that you'll need on a day-to-day basis to make sure that you're able to live in a healthy way.
And maybe when it comes to deciding what events to cancel, like I noticed you guys canceled the youth career potentially this weekend. We spoke to the organizers of Cinecwest yesterday and said they were in close contact with
Yeah.
you about deciding to keep it open or closed. Obviously, the county has said to not try to cancel large gathering events. We were
Yes.
told the organizers that you advised them to keep it on Cinecwest.
No, that's not true.
Okay.
So there may have been some miscommunication. The county has issued its advice, and they are the experts. There's some ambiguity, some would argue, in what the county has directed. But nonetheless, my view is that public events should shut down. And any public events over which the city has any control are being shut down. And my reasons are grounded not just in what we hear from public health at the county, but I've diligently taken the time to make contact with more than a half dozen epidemiologists throughout the country and in fact internationally. And I just got off the phone with another one about a half hour ago to try to understand exactly what the thresholds are for the decisions we need to make as a city to keep people safe. And I'm absolutely sure that having large convenings of people at public events is going to accelerate the spread of this virus. And so public events should be shut down. We do not, as a city, have control over decisions that are made by tenants in city facilities. We have carefully reviewed the contracts of all those facilities, including the Shark Tank, many of the venues downtown, like the Center of Performing Arts, California Theater, and so forth. And what is clear is that we do not have the authority to shut any events down. We are conveying to all of our partners that they should follow the county direction. Many of them are corresponding directly with the county and asking for advice. And I'm told they are all complying with the county direction, however they may view that direction. I am not the expert here. I'm not the epidemiologist, but my view is all public events should shut down.